went really well. It was actually the hardest event of the year so far, and it was my best riding of the year for sure. The first loop, I felt really good on the bike and put together a 1-point loop, and that really surprised me because there were some really tricky sections and I just was making them and was really happy with that, but knew it was going to be tough to back it up. I was able to on the second loop and had another 1-point loop, but things were deteriorating on the third loop. I took one pretty early, I think section 6, and then section 11, I just spun quite a bit and didn't really make it as far as I needed to, so I had to paddle out of that one. It was ugly, but got through it. Just didn't want to get a 5 there, and to end the day on 6 points for the win. Got to be happy with that, and happy with the way I felt on the bike. Really enjoyed these sections being much more difficult, very technical, some slick spots, some grippy spots, and a few big hits. It was a good mix, and they put on a great event, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow and hopefully ending on a good note.
All right, so yeah, Saturday was pretty good. Started off with a pretty strong first lap. I knew it was going to be difficult to keep it consistent throughout the day because the sections were very clean or 5, so it's either you got up the big rocks or you didn't. I mean, for me, I seem to trade off sections in between laps, so like a lot of sections I went 5 clean 5 or clean 5 clean or something like that, and my scores stayed consistent, which was the biggest thing for me. So it got me a third place yesterday, so I was really happy with that. The bike was working great throughout the day. It didn't skip a beat, and yeah, I mean, I was happy with my riding. I was nestled right in third place with a decent cushion on each side.
So Saturday started out pretty good. Back East Coast, kind of used to this kind of terrain, and the bike was working fantastic. I couldn't have asked for much more. It just a couple sections put me out. Pretty much is the easy way to sum it up. There were 1 or 2 sections that I never made it through, but most of my competition was, and that's what killed me. Because I was riding just as good, if not better, in the other sections, but I just couldn't keep up. And so that ultimately put me back to 5th. Not quite what I wanted, but in such a cleaner 5 kind of day, where just the slightest slip and you 5 a section, it really wasn't that far off, just 10 points from 3rd. So I got to be happy with that riding, but definitely taking into consideration some techniques to change for Sunday.
Yeah! I had another good day today. The sections again were really tough. A good mix of technical and some big stuff, nothing too dangerous. Maybe slightly easier, but pretty slick on the first loop for sure. Some of them were you had to be very precise for. Once again, I didn't feel like I was riding quite as well, that's for sure. And I did see some of my competitors take some 5s early on, and I thought I had some wiggle room, so I didn't want to push for a clean on everything. I ended up taking some kind of lame dabs here and there, and a few more than I would have liked to, but I just really wanted to keep from getting any 5s. That was kind of my goal after halfway through the first loop, since I wasn't feeling perfect. So still put out some really good scores and had some really great rides for sure. Just had to force things a little bit. Not to say my score would have been much different, but happy with my riding overall. I was able to clean every section, just not every time. I did end up with 1.5 with a stall on the last loop, but just a single dab other than that. So pretty happy to end the season on a good note and take another win for sure. And seeing Alex up here on the podium is pretty awesome as well. He's been working hard and pays off. So huge thanks to the FactoryONE Sherco team. They've gone above and beyond for us to get us comfortable on these new bikes, and it paid off for all of us. So really happy to end the season this way.
Yeah, so Sunday started off just as good. Actually started off better. Saturday I 5'd the very first section, but today I kept my head on straight and just kept riding section to section really, and just keeping that focus. I know the riding's there. I'm an East Coast rider, so slippery mud and rocks is kind of my forte. And I just made it work for me. Had some kind of silly mistakes throughout the day, but I was just lucky enough to squeak into 2nd. So it's my second place in my career, and the class is so competitive. So to squeak out in front of those guys, except for Pat, I gotta be happy with that. It's been a long time coming. This bike is just, when it works great, it's phenomenal. It's such an easy bike to ride. The weight, it just makes your day so much easier. And got to give it up to the Sherco guys at the factory and here in the US, Francesc and Sam for coming over from the factory, and of course Ron Solomon, Ron Lee, Jenna Jansen, all those guys just working their butts off to get this bike to perform how we need it to perform. And you know, there's a lot of people that we haven't thanked either. Guys back at the factory and guys at the warehouse at Sherco USA. Just been working really hard. So to end it with a Sherco Scorpa 1-2, I can't ask for much more, and I'm super proud of the steps we've made this season.
All right, so Sunday started off pretty rough. I had some things going on in the first lap. I was struggling mentally to stay on task, but I put in a fairly decent loop. Wasn't the best I could do. I knew that, but it got some cleans and some points on the board. But coming into the second and third loop, conditions were changing pretty drastically, getting slicker and slimier, and I pushed as hard as I could through each section. I ended up doing pretty well in my last two loops. Just some fives here and there that really put me out. I was pretty disappointed about, but I got up all the big steps. The guys here, we brought some guys over from France this weekend. Got these bikes running absolutely amazing. So I'm looking forward to riding this bike more, and also giving the public the ability to ride it. Because once you get on one of these things, you don't want to get off. They're a great bike, and I was really enjoying riding today. I took a few crashes, but you know, it was a fun day. I'm happy the season's done and stayed safe, and no crashes and no major mechanicals. So you know, that's the best you can ask for.
First place, Pat Smage.